evening, my true crimers. Thank you for joining True Crime with Jody ASMR. So, I wasn't going to do a true crime tonight, but I ran into a case that was based around the holidays, and I thought, that is a great thing. So here I am. Make sure I don't have paint on my hand because I'm going to be doing a lot of mic fluffing. And cupping of the mic. So I hope you are all doing well. I hope you are doing very, very well. Very well. So before we start, I just want you to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Just enjoy taking this minute for yourself. And relax. Just relax. Okay, tonight. So let's just get rid of all the negative energy. I'm just pulling all the negative energy. All the negative. I'm just throwing it away. So, it's gone. All the negative energy is gone. Just like that. So now we can relax and enjoy the very sad case, unfortunately. But it is a true crime. So, as always, I just want you to remember that with all true crime, it is always of a sensitive nature and must be taken and remembered as such. If you have any triggers to suicide, children being hurt, or burn victims, murders, just any kind of gruesome. This is a gruesome case and a sad case, and unfortunately it happened during the holidays. So just think of that before you do. And throwing that disclaimer out there, this is true crime, should not be watched by anybody under the age of 14, and even then should be taken into consideration who is watching the true crime. Okay, so just want to throw that in there. So let's start. December 24th, 2008. Mr. Pedro goes to his ex-in-law's house. He is getting divorced, which is never a good thing. If you have gone through a divorce, you know it is very stressful, especially during the holidays, especially if you're being forced to give money to the other person, maybe that you don't have or don't want to, of course. But in this case, as you will find out, he does not go to his in-laws' house to join the party as a guest. But let me paint a little picture for you. Mr. Pardo goes to a house in Covina, California, which is on the suburbs of Los Angeles, California. It is a quiet neighborhood. It is inhabited by, the house is inhabited by an elderly couple, which is his ex-wife's parents, 70-year-old and 80-year-old Ortiz, I think was the last name. At this party, there are 25 people, including a little 8-year-old girl up to a 80-year-old man. So those are the ages ranging in this party, attending this party. Now, Mr. Pardo, he is dressed as Santa Claus, and he is in the spirit. Matter of fact, there's an account of his neighbor saying that when he saw Mr. Pardo leave his house that evening, he actually said Merry Christmas, and he waved to him and seemed very happy, very jolly. Nothing seemed bothering him. Another neighbor, Mr. Guzman, had said that he was a very, very nice man that, had no beef with anybody, never made, any problems, was very social, very friendly. So this man had dressed up as Santa Claus, wraps a big present and puts a big bow on it, and he's walking up to this cute little, house in this suburb, Covina, of Los Angeles. And he has a white beard on. He has a jolly smile on his face. And what this little 8-year-old girl is looking, as she's looking at the window, she sees this Santa coming up the driveway, up to the walkway, up to the front door, and he knocks with this big present in his hand. Now, the big bow on it. He's dressed in full Santa attire, and he knocks, and she runs to the door saying, Santa's here, Santa's here. He's brought us presents. As she grabs the handle swiftly, turning it, she opens it, only to be met with him shooting her directly in the face with a semi-automatic rifle. Handgun. He then, which stands over her body, she is lying there looking up at him, bleeding, and watches him either shoot or burn her entire family right there in front of her. There were 9 people murdered altogether. 9 people. And the police had speculated that it was a unintentional, or that he wasn't directing the bullets. It just happened to hit every single one of her family members. It hit her mother, killed her. It hit her, Sylvia, killed her. It hit her sister, her sister's husband, her brother, her brother's wife, her other brother, his wife, and then, not her, it hit her sister, but then it also killed her sister's son, not her sister's husband, I apologize, her sister's son. So, for not having really any intentional aim, I guess as the police were trying to insinuate, he sure took out the people that really were the closest to her, including her. So there was an 8-year-old girl that was shot in the face with severe wounds. However, she lived. They were not life-threatening, thank goodness. And somehow, as this man sprays all of this jet fuel or racing fuel onto these party goers and sets them ablaze. I don't know how they got that little girl out of the hallway. I guess she got out, thank God, because she did make it. There was a 16-year-old that was shot in the back and a 20-year-old woman who jumped from a second-story window that also lived. The rest did not have physical wounds, but I'm sure they will always have mental ones, just like the others. The ones that were murdered were her family, so I don't know how that could be not intentional. I don't know. I guess the police said he just opened fire, but I think he knew. I think there's more to the story that nobody saw. This is just obviously speculation or guessing from the police, because the house was so engulfed in flames. I mean, you put racing fuel and a huge tank of it into a home, not very big, made of wood. It's going to incinerate, completely disintegrate, which is what happened. And it took 80 firefighters to put out this fire that was 50 feet tall. The flames were 50 feet in the air. Oh my gosh, 50 feet in the air. Can you imagine? It took them 80 firefighters an hour and a half to put out this fire. That is crazy. The fuel itself is just gonna burn. It's gonna burn fast and hot. I'm surprised only 9 people died. Honestly, onlookers said that people were jumping out of the second-story windows, jumping out of the first story. Any way they could get out of the house, they were getting out of the house. The person who called the authorities was a partygoer. He had luckily escaped, called the authorities, and then waited in the few minutes it took for them to arrive. The neighborhood was quiet. It was full of elderly people. Honestly, most people, it was at 11:30 at night. Most people were asleep, which is probably how he got his blue little rental car there with that and all of that gear. He was carrying 4 semi-automatic handguns and a big present. And inside that present was the homemade flamethrower. So that little girl, what she was looking at was actually a murder weapon. So her Christmas will never be the same again. I don't think it will be for anybody in that household ever again. But the problem is, here's the thing. At first, the bodies were so incinerated, it was hard to tell who was missing and who was actually dead, deceased. They eventually did find all but one that I had read. They might have found the last one, but they could only go by the dental records and their medical records to actually identify the bodies. That's how badly they were burned. Now you would think that a person who had this in them would have a record, right? Or have some kind of violence in the past. No, this man did not have a record, never was violent, did not show signs of violence to him or his wife or her 3 children. There were no accounts that he was a violent human being. The police could not find anything. So what led this man of 45 to destroy his life? Because after he had set the house ablaze and left the scene of the crime, he got in his rental vehicle, which was rigged with explosives underneath the Santa suit. So if anybody tried to remove the Santa suit, it would explode. He gets into the car, drives 30 miles to his brother's house. And this is where he kills himself. He commits suicide. There are reports that he was going to flee for Canada the next day. However, there was a layover in Indiana, and then it was going to go up into Minnesota. So the police speculate that he either couldn't get there without the police getting him first, so he couldn't make it to Canada, but he had purchased the plane tickets. Or the plane tickets were just purchased to throw off the police. They don't really know, and he never told anybody the reason why. So this man who never insinuated to anybody he was going to have a breakdown did say one thing. He did say, "She's taking me to the cleaners," quote unquote, to a friend. He did have some issues with the divorce, though. The reason Sylvia Ortiz wanted the divorce was he would not, once they got married, he would not get a joint bank account with her. He would not help her support her 3 children. She had to do that all on her own. And he did not tell her that he had a child from another relationship that had almost drowned a year prior to that. Now, this couple had only been married for 1 year when this divorce occurred. And I think what really set him off, well, there's a couple things I think that really set him off, was that the judge in the case said that Mr. Pardo, you're going to have to pay Sylvia $1,800, approximately $1,800 a month for spousal support. And he then gets fired a week later from his job because he is double billing for hours that he does not work. This, I think, sends him over the edge for sure. I think that Mr. Pardo, I think it's Pardo, just lost it because then now he has no money, he has no job, a wife. He has this other child that she's found out about. He's super angry. He's even so angry that he planned on killing his own mother after killing her family because his mother was on Sylvia's side through the divorce, and it had really pissed him off. So this man completely had gone over the edge of sanity. So what happens when that happens? Very bad things do start to come of this. A very nice person can turn very evil very quickly, even without a record or any signs that he was ever angry at all, ever. So, he did plan on, after the shootings and the burning and the whole crime, he planned on going to a friend's house in Indiana, and he had visited this friend in 2008 in October, and I did not find any information that actually told me that he had said anything to this friend, that he was planning on doing anything or was even angry, because clearly he needed therapy badly. So, but this is what I really think killed him, is that now he has no job. He was a electrical engineer for a good company. He is ordered to pay this money. Now he does take her back to court, and the court says, I will give you hardship. You do not have to pay her the $1,800. However, at the end of the divorce, he was ordered to pay her $10,000. $10,000 in total. So he was really, really, really upset about this. He did not like her. He did not want to pay her this money. He wanted to move on with his life, obviously. But he didn't want to when he was married to her either, so I don't know what demons he had in his past, but it just seemed like there was something else there. He appeared to be this great guy on the outside, but somebody goes to that length to harm so many people, 9 people altogether, and just shoots a little 8-year-old in the face without even thinking about it, dressed as Santa and carrying a present, has had mental issues that have not been brought to the surface or have not been talked about, because that just doesn't, yes, it can push people, even the nicest people, to the edge. However, that just seems, he even was going to kill his mother for being on her side. Something had obviously gone awry, to say the least, and I'm not laughing in a joking manner. I'm just expressing how bizarre, in a twist of fate, that such a nice person, everybody said what a kind, fun, social person this man was, to be so angry that he was going to kill his own mother, and then decides to shoot himself in the head. He was an attractive young 45-year-old man. It wasn't like he was dying. I read the autopsy report. He was very healthy, in good shape, had a good job, was well educated. You just happen, you just think about those things that, oh my God, 9 people are dead, just over 10 grand. I'm sure if she thought that he would kill her whole family, she would have probably never even cared about the 10 grand at all. So, I think that's one thing we can take from this case. I think all these cases are lesson from every one of them in some way. I think some are just, crazy and tragic. However, this is a completely normal guy with a completely normal job. There are some things, we all have some skeletons in our past, I'm sure, to an extent. It wasn't like crazy stuff, having a child or another relationship that, okay, obviously, I don't know, but nothing like he was a murderer from the ex-mafia. Nothing crazy like that came out. Nothing that would have indicated he would have murdered her entire family on Christmas Eve, 2008, December 24th. I just don't get it. So what are we taking back? What are we taking out of this case? Well, I would like to think that money is not everything. And if you are feeling this kind of anger, that you are even thinking these things, that you're going to get help, because it's not worth it. In 10 years, it would have been over with. Everything would have been over with. The pain, the anger, you would have probably moved on. Maybe you had a family of his own. He was only 45 years old, for crying out loud. But instead, he is gone. 9 people are gone. A little 8-year-old girl will be suffering for many, many years to come. And that was quite a while ago. I'm sure she's still suffering. You never get over that. I'm sorry. You never get over that. And that 16-year-old girl who got shot in the back, even though she lived, that's things that nightmares are made of. So if you're feeling these feelings of anger and just hatred, find a source and get help. Don't allow it to become so bad that this happens, because this could have been completely prevented if he had gotten some help for himself. I don't know if he didn't know if he needed help, or nobody saw it around him, or he was really good at hiding, who he really was for a really long time. But I hope we can all feel empathy and sympathy for the victims and the victims' families. And if we know of somebody who might be feeling like this, because divorce is a tough thing, when I was in law school, the professors always said that family law is the most dangerous law to get involved in. For that reason, because they really blame the attorney if it doesn't go their way. So, anyway, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Can relax a little bit now. Relax, relax, relax. And I hope you have a happier holiday than these people. And I hope nothing happens this holiday season for you. I hope everything goes well. And if you're having a hard time because you miss somebody, or not feeling the best, which happens a lot, during the holidays, people do get depressed because it can be very stressful for many reasons. But reach out to others. Don't keep things bottled in. So, have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for subscribing, watching, viewing. I love your comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate all of the support. Have a wonderful evening.